History doesn't feel sorry for the man who picks the wrong woman. That's a hard truth most men only learn when it's already too late, when they're standing over the grave of their own potential, wondering how it all fell apart, and they never even saw it coming. The world won't ruin you. Your mom won't. You boys probably don't even know how. And society? It profits from you staying blind. But Machiavelli? He saw it. He understood that when a man loses everything, it's rarely fate, bad luck, or some dramatic tragedy. It's usually because he let the wrong woman into his world and ignored the cost. And while everyone else is selling fairy tales, loyalty, love, happily ever after, Machiavelli whispered something way colder. He said, men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. Translation? Most men are walking around looking, but they're not really seeing. You're not here to be entertained. You're here to survive. And what I'm about to tell you, most people are too afraid to say out loud. There are only two kinds of women in this world: beneficial and destructive. That's it. No middle ground. No maybes. You either rise because of him, or you slowly decay by keeping her around. And here's the trap. Most women today, they've perfected the skill of looking like they're beneficial, while actually draining the life out of you. Yeah, I said it. You can sugarcoat it all day, but it won't stop your life from burning down when you make the wrong choice. This isn't about hate. It's not about bitterness. It's about strategy. Machiavelli said, "He who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived." And that someone is usually the man who refuses to think before he feels. So here's the first rule you need to burn into your brain. Never choose a woman based on looks alone. Ever. She might be the most stunning woman you've ever laid eyes on. But if her mind is shallow, her values are rotten, and her loyalty's up for grabs to the highest bidder, you're not dating a queen. You're sipping poison from a gold cup. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really own. Few even want to. But the smart man, the man who moves like a general, he sees deeper. He watches how she carries herself when nobody's watching. How she speaks about people who aren't in the room. How she treats the waiter, her family, herself. Because the men who lose everything, they miss those signs. They ignored the whispers and waited until it was too loud to ignore. You don't just randomly bump into a great woman. You select her. You observe her like a general studies the battlefield before a war. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Don't wait until you're trapped to start thinking straight. And that brings us to the second rule. Never commit to a woman who doesn't respect masculine authority. Period. If she treats your strengths like it's toxic, walk. If she's constantly competing with you instead of complimenting your leadership, leave. If she shoots down your vision but has no wisdom of her own, walk away. A woman who can't respect masculine order will drag your life into feminine chaos. That's how kings fall. That's how empires crumble. You're not here to fix her. You're not a rehab. You're here to build. And building requires alignment, not opposition. Machiavelli warned, men who don't secure their power become slaves to the very forces that once tried to tame. You think you can handle the drama. You think your love will fix it. But here's the thing, you've already given her the power. And once she has it, she knows it. Power in a relationship isn't something you negotiate. You either have it, or you've handed it over, wrapped in words like compromise, understanding, and partnership. Sounds noble, right? Sounds romantic. But Machiavelli cut through that nonsense. He said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved if you must choose between the two." And I did it. That sounds harsh. But in real life, love without respect is just slavery with a smile. A man who lets a woman rule over him in the name of peace is no different than a puppet king with a fake crown, ruling over nothing. You want to see who she really is? Set about her. Tell her, no. Cut off access to your time, your money, your energy. And then, just wait. What happens next? Will she respect your decision? Or will she manipulate you back with guilt, tears, or fake promises? Most women today have been conditioned by a soft, weak culture to think men exist to serve their every emotional whim. And most men, desperate to be loved, serve on their knees. But you, after this, you're not that man anymore. Here's the third commandment. Watch how she handles boredom. Every woman can act sweet when things are exciting. When she's getting gifts. When the spotlight's on her. But boredom? That's when her true character comes out. Can she create value when things are quiet? Or does she stir up chaos just to feel alive? Does she rest with peace or start fights just to feel important again? Because a woman who can't master her emotions during calm times will absolutely destroy your life when real problems hit. You don't want a drama queen. You want a peacekeeper, not a ticking time bomb. And then, there's that lie society keeps feeding you. That her past doesn't matter. That her body count isn't your business. That you're insecure if you even can. Machiavelli would laugh in your face. He said, the promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. And that cuts deep. You've been told to ignore a woman's history. But history? It's the only thing that can show you where she's headed. If she's betrayed people before, she's not starting fresh with you. She's just polishing her tactics. You're not the exception. You're the next chapter. What's her past? Because her past is screaming your future. Commandment 4. Never invest in a woman whose values you don't share. You're a man with a mission, where you should be. And a man on a mission doesn't chase lust. He aligns with purpose. If she laughs at your ambition, if she mocks your discipline, if she's more into social media clout than building something real, cut her loose. I don't care how pretty she looks. I don't care how sweet she talks when she wants something. Because the truth? The wrong woman will cost you your future. And no short-term pleasure is worth a lifetime of regret. And now we come to the hardest truth for most men to accept. If she doesn't feel losing you, she will never truly value you. That's the rawest law of all. The woman who believes you'll always be there, no matter how far she pushes, no matter how much she disrespects you, that woman will slowly grow to hate you. Why? Because what costs nothing is worth nothing. Machiavelli knew. Men should be either caressed or crushed. And in love, women will do the same to you. If she knows she can't lose you, she'll crush you. If she fears your absence, she'll rise. Men who are respected, they're not cruel. They're not cruel. They're simply not afraid to walk away. Their absence is weight. So stop making yourself too available. Stop rewarding disrespect with more love. Stop begging for what should be given freely, loyalty. Because the man who's willing to walk away, that man owns the power. Always has. Always will. It's easy to say these things. It's much harder to live them. Because to live them, you've got to kill something inside you first. That soft part. That helpful part. The fool. The romantic fool. The desperate fool. The boy inside the man who still thinks love alone will fix everything. You've been trained to believe your sincerity will win her over. That your loyalty will make her stay. That if you just love her enough, she'll finally appreciate you. She won't. That's the trap so many men fall into. Not because of women, but because of their illusions about women. Machiavelli didn't have time for illusions. He was ruthless with men who refused to see reality. He said men are driven by two forces, love or fear. But make no mistake, fear holds more power. It always has. The woman you're afraid to lose? That's the one who owns you. And she knows it. She feels it. But here's the twist. Watch how a woman treats the man she knows she could lose. Watch how her voice softens. Watch how she straightens up. Watch how her loyalty sharpens. How her drama fades. Now compare that to the man who's always available. Always agreeable. Always saying yes. What happens to him? She gets colder. She gets bolder. She pushes further. Not because she's evil. Not because she's broken. But because women don't trust what they don't respect. And a man who doesn't protect his value? He's not respected. Let's make this painfully clear. The most dangerous woman in your life isn't the one who screams at you or even cheats on you. It's the one who uses you emotionally, but sees you as nothing more than a safe landing. You think she loves you because she tells you her secrets? Because she vents to you? Cries to you? That doesn't mean anything. The real test is this. Does she follow your leadership? Does she rise when you raise the standard? Or does she ignore it? Laugh it off? If she doesn't follow, you're not her king. You're her therapist. Her emotional trash can. She'll keep dumping on you until she finds someone she actually respects. And if that truth stings a little, good. Let it sting. That pain is a signal. That burn you feel? That's the fire that's supposed to wake you up. Because most men, they try to negotiate respect. They try to earn it by doing more, giving more, sacrificing themselves to prove their worth. Machiavelli would call them fools. He said, one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. You've been deceiving yourself long enough. Respect is not something you earn by begging. It's something you command by being willing to walk away. So how do you command it? You stop living like you're afraid to lose him. Because the man who fears losing the woman becomes her servant. But the man who embraces that fear, who walks toward it instead of away from it, that man becomes her obsession. She will test you, over and over. She'll push to see if you're all bulwark and no bite. You must bite. You must leave. You must disappear, not out of spite, not to manipulate him, but to prove something bigger. That you value yourself more than you fear being alone. And let me give you one of the most overlooked tests. Pay attention to how she talks about other men. Not just her exes. Not just her guy friends. I mean all men. Does she admire masculine strength? Or does she mock it? Does she speak highly of her father? Her mentors? Or does she carry bitterness, sarcasm, and resentment toward every man who ever tried to lead her? Because here's the deal. A woman who secretly resents men will never truly submit to women. She may smile. She may play the part. But her bitterness will bubble up. Always. And when it does, you'll realize too late. You didn't marry a partner. You married a competitor. Machiavelli wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." You cannot afford to trust her words. You must study her patterns. Do not invest in potential. Do not invest in promises. Invest in patterns. If her life before you was a mess, it won't magically become peaceful with you. If she was undisciplined before, she's not subtly becoming consistent just because she met you. You are not the exception. You are not the miracle. You are not her savior. You're just the next fool if you ignore the signs. So why do most men ignore all this? Because deep down, you want to believe you're the one who'll change her. You want to believe your love is different. That your patience will crack the code. It won't. You're not her dad. You're not her therapist. You're not her redemption arc. You are a man. And a man's time is his life. Every minute you spend trying to reform a woman who refuses to grow, that's a minute stolen from your purpose. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." And every second you delay cutting ties with the wrong woman, you are choosing to be the fool. And here's something no motivational speaker will ever say. No woman on this planet is your purpose. Not one. Your mission is your purpose. Your discipline. Your vision. Your kingdom. That's what you're here to build. A woman? She's either going to help you build, or she's going to burn it all down. There is no in-between. Most men get this flipped. They make the woman the mission. The reason they grind. The reason they get out of bed. But when a woman sees that, when she becomes your source instead of your companion, she loses respect. Because women don't trust men who orbit them. They trust men who orbit their mission. That's why the same woman will disrespect one guy and worship another. It's not about him. It's about the man's frame. So here's the next hard lesson. Never choose a woman who can't thrive in your absence. You want to know who she really is? Step back. Watch what happens when you're not around. Does she fall apart? Or does she stay solid? Because a woman who needs constant babysitting, constant validation, constant attention, she'll be your downfall. But a woman who holds the line when you're gone, who stays disciplined when you're not watching, who multiplies in your absence, that's a woman worth keeping. Machiavelli ruined rulers. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. In relationships, that means something very specific. You must be willing to make her uncomfortable to protect your standards. If she crosses a boundary, speak up. If she disrespects your time, take it away. If she tests your leadership, show her the door. Not because you're cruel, but because you are a man building something worth protecting. And you protect it with discipline. If you bend once, you'll bend forever. And she knows that. Women remember what you tolerate. Next commandment. Choose a woman who strengthens your discipline, not weakens it. A woman who tempts you to skip the gym, who marks your focus, who pulls you into comfort instead of pushing you toward greatness. She might smile and call it love. But it's not love. It's betrayal in disguise. Because a real woman, a beneficial woman, is your ally in discipline. She won't let you stay soft. She'll challenge you to rise. She'll hold you accountable. She'll sharpen you. And if you're already with the wrong one right now, don't panic. But understand this, it's not going to be cheap. Fixing that mistake may cost you your pride, your money, your time. But ask yourself, what's more expensive? Leaving now, or dying slowly for the next 20 years? Because make no mistake, the wrong woman will drain everything from you. And when you're empty, she'll leave anyway. Nature doesn't have mercy for the man who refuses to lead. 3. Machiavelli understood something too many men forget. People only respect what they fear losing. So if she doesn't fear losing you, that's because you've already shown her. You're not someone who walks away. You've got no spine. But that changes today. You're not here to be a footnote in her story. You're here to build a kingdom. And every kingdom rises or falls based on one thing: who you let through the gates. And here's the hard truth. The biggest threat to most men isn't other men. or money, or even failure. It's the woman they choose. The wrong woman doesn't just slow you down. She tears it all apart from the inside. Quietly, subtly, consistently. The problem isn't that you're weak. It's that you were taught weakness is compassion. That letting things slide means you're patient. That tolerating disrespect is love. It's not. Machiavelli stripped it back. He said, "A prince who is not himself realized cannot be wisely advised." Meaning what? Meaning if you're soft, if you're blind, if you lack standards, then the voices in your life will reflect that. Weak men attract chaotic women. Period. And here's the kicker. You thought you were just unlucky. You thought you just kept meeting the wrong ones. No, you chose them. Maybe out of loneliness. Maybe out of boredom. Maybe because you ignored your gut. But you let them in. You kept them around. And that's why your life feels off. That's why your energy's drained. That's why you've been questioning your value. Because somewhere deep down, you know you picked wrong. You're listening to this now because something inside you is waking up. You're finally starting to see the pattern. And yeah, it hurts. But it also empowers you. Because here's the real punch in the gut. You are exactly where you deserve to be. The woman you have right now, whether she's an asset or a disaster, you picked her. You made the call. And until you own that truth, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Blaming women, blaming society, blaming timing. Enough. Own it. Because once you take responsibility, everything changes. Machiavelli's lessons weren't written for men who wanted comfort. They were written for rulers, for strategists, for men who wanted to win. But most modern men, they wait around. They think the right woman will just show up. They don't build value. They don't sharpen their discernment. They float through life waiting for a feeling. But feelings long. Women know this. They know exactly how to trigger those feelings. Comfort, intimacy, validation. So here's the final law. If you forget everything else, remember this. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. Because everyone sees a thing, but few understand it. You have eyes, but do you have insight? Do you have the ability to sit across from a beautiful woman and see through the act? To recognize the patterns beneath the surface? To walk away, even when everything in your body wants to stay? That's what separates the man from the fool. A real man chooses based on wisdom, not lust. Based on mission, not comfort. Based on legacy, not entertainment. Final commandment. Test her loyalty in your absence before you trust her in your presence. Anyone can act right when you're watching. The real question is, who is she when you're not around? Does she keep your name clean when you're not in the room? Does she shut down male attention without being told to? Does she honor your values even when there's no reward for doing it? Or does she drift the second you back is turned? Because the woman who can't be trusted when you're not there will betray you when you're weak. It's only a matter of time. Don't apologize for having standards. Don't apologize for walking away. You're not here to settle. You're not here to gamble with your life. You're here to build. And if she's not building with you, she's tearing it down. Not because she's evil, but because that's how nature works. Machiavelli told rulers to protect their cities, secure their gates, guard their borders. Why? Because the enemy doesn't always come marching with flags and weapons. Sometimes, the enemy enters smiling, soft, sweet, silent. And you, my brother, are a city. Your mind, your mission, your energy, they're your walls. Your fortress. Guard them. Because now we face the final game, the illusion of endless options. Modern culture tells you women are everywhere. Just keep swiping. Keep scrolling. Lower your standards. There's always another one coming. But Machiavelli warned us, men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. In other words, nothing bankrupts a man faster than giving his kingdom away to the wrong woman. Here's the truth you already feel in your gut. Most women today aren't worth selecting. And deep down, you know it. You see it on your feed. You see it in conversations. You see it every time you meet someone who's mastered performance, but abandoned substance. Likes over legacy. Performance over partnership. And yet you keep telling yourself to compromise. To give her another chance. To wait it out. Why? Because you're scared to be alone. But here's your final blow. Better to be alone than to be with the wrong woman. Because the wrong woman won't just waste your time. She will strip you of the very thing that makes you a man. Your edge, your clarity, your fight. Look around. Look at the men who used to be strong, who used to be driven, and now look tired, drained, numb. You think that happened overnight? It happened because they ignored the signs. They sold their mission for a smile. They stayed when they should have walked. And while they were wasting time with the wrong woman, The right one was walking by. Watching. Watching them shrink their standards. Watching them give up their edge. Watching them sell their potential for attention. Don't be that man. Become the kind of man who would rather suffer in solitude than settle for mediocrity. Machiavelli taught rulers that power doesn't come from comfort. It comes from sacrifice. The ends justify the means. And your end? Your goal? That's your purpose. Your legacy. Your peace. The means? Relentless standards. Unapologetic discipline. Ruthless selection. Because every woman you allow in your life is either sharpening you or dulling your blade. There is no neutral. There is no safe bet. There is only progress or destruction. She will either fuel your flame or extinguish it. She will either be a fortress beside you or the enemy within your beats. This isn't fear-mongering. It's history. Kings didn't fall because of their armies. They fell because of who they let whisper in their ear at night. They trusted the wrong woman. And when it all came crashing down, there was no one left to save them. And here's the most bitter irony of all. The woman you failed to choose wisely, she'll be the one you spend years trying to explain. To your friends, to your family, to yourself. You'll say, I didn't know. You'll say, it just happened. You'll say, it wasn't that bad. But you'll know. Deep down, you'll know. You saw the signs. You heard the warning. You ignored it. And when your life burns down around you, no one's coming to put out the fire. Because no one can save a man from his own cowardice. Machiavelli didn't write for the passive man. He wrote for the man who wanted to win. And if you want to win, if you want to build a life worth defending, then start choosing like a king, not a beggar. Start testing like a leader, not a lover. Start walking away like a man who knows what he's worth. Not because you're heartless, but because your mission is too important. Your legacy too valuable. Your time too limited. Right now, you're standing at a fork in the road. One path leads to greatness, the other to regret. Choose. If this message hit you in the chest, if something inside you shifted, then don't just sit there. Like this video, share it, subscribe, support the mission. Not because it helps me, but because there's another man out there who needs to hear this. A brother who's about to make the same mistake you just avoided. This isn't just a video. This is a wake-up call, a movement, a war for the future of men. And if you heard this all the way through, you already know what you need to do. Make your choice. Right now.